Have I seen a UFO? Yes. If we define it in the strictest sense, it's an unidentified flying object. Have I seen something flying in the sky that I didn't know what it was? Yes, I have. Do I believe it was space aliens? No, I don't.
And there's the difference right there.
I don't believe it at all. I mean, once I looked out of an airplane window, I had the window seat, and we're somewhere over Arizona, and there was something hanging outside the window that was red and cylindrical and definitely steel. And it was hanging in the sky, and it looked like it was about 20 feet tall, and it was, I didn't know what it was. Do I think it's an alien? No. And then one time here in the foothills of Colorado, I saw something that looked kind of similar. I don't think that they're space aliens. They're just something that I can't explain.
Sure.
But I don't believe it's visitors from another world. I don't. I don't believe it.
Yeah. No. Well, I guess the question is then, you've seen some things that you can't explain. Clearly, more than 12,000 reports just between the early 50s and 1970, people saw things they couldn't explain. So what are they? What are people seeing?
Here's where we're going to start unpacking things a little bit. And I have at least 6 theories about what they are, all right, outside of them being space aliens. Number one, I think a lot of what people are seeing happen to be aviation experiments. That's what they are. Here's what happened. At the end of World War II, if you just want to look up something called Operation Paperclip, we evacuated a whole bunch of German scientists, the Americans did, at the end of World War II, and moved them over here. Werner von Braun, they helped launch our space program in the 1960s. If you go back and look at what the Germans were dealing with, there's a few things that were going on. By the 1870s up through World War I, and then especially from the end of World War I up until World War II, there was a popular movement in Germany that dealt with the occult. And so we'll get to that in just a minute. But the other thing that the Germans were doing was working on military technology. And one of the things they were experimenting with was disc-shaped flying machines, right? And you can find the blueprints for these. It's not hard to find. They were experimenting with these. And you'll notice that the spaceship sightings in America happened after 1945.
They did.
Right.
That's when this really began.
Right. So these are moving here. The delta-shaped, the triangle-shaped craft that start showing up in the 1970s, they proved to be stealth fighters, I think. And the Germans were experimenting with disc-shaped stuff. And you'll notice that the first UFO stories were all about discs, and then it changed, and then they're delta-shaped, and then they change again. And then I look at where we have all these mysterious sightings. Where do people see these things? Well, around Area 51. What is Area 51? It's an Air Force base. It's a secret facility. They're testing new equipment there. The famous one, the crash in Roswell. I almost said the crash in Roswell. The crash in Roswell happens in 1947. You and I have been to Roswell out of curiosity. We went to the Flying Saucer Museum and saw where this mysterious crash was. The official story, it was a weather balloon. But what is right over the hill from Roswell?
Edwards Air Force Base, right?
No. Edwards Air Force Base isn't anywhere near New Mexico, but it's the White Sands Missile Base. The White Sands Proving Grounds. You and I have been over there. Remember the time we drove through there and a fixed-wing drone came down and flew over our car? Yeah. Like they were toying with us as we're driving across the property.
That was just a couple of years ago.
Well, they opened that in 1945.
Right.
Over the hill from Roswell. And then in 1947, something mysterious crashes in Roswell and the government moves in and cleans it all up. Come on, folks. Do the math here. What do you think it is?